Hi everybody, how are y'all doing today? Hey. Good, awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming to Capital Factory. I just wanted to thank you everyone and welcome y'all. And today we have a very special speaker. He's on his first ever full-length tour all the way from London. First ever South by 2-month-long tour. We've got Vincent Dagnon.
Hello, I'm back here. By a show of hands, how many people run their own company? And how many people want to run their own company? And how many people have a massive marketing budget to make that company grow? So I know what it's like to want to grow a company, to want to do big things and have no money to do it. I was on welfare and benefits 3 years ago, pretty much until the day I was given a check for $250,000 to start my company. So I had to do a lot of stuff with no resources. But the good news is there's a lot of shortcuts you can take. And I'm going to talk about some of them today. I saw a talk by Tucker Max last night where he told the audience, you are all utterly fucked and I will try and unfuck you. So using these techniques, I hope you guys can unfuck yourselves. So today is going to be a game. It's going to have 3 levels, and you must think of it that way. Once you know the rules of the game, you can break them. So where was I 3 years ago? I once had $15, or the equivalent of in English pounds, in my pocket. And if I had lost that money, I would have had to walk 4 miles home. That was like my lowest point. But then I came up with an idea for an online magazine. It was called Planet Ivy. It was news written by and for young people. Within 6 months, we had 300,000 visitors a month. Within 1 year, we had 1 million visitors a month. So we wrote viral content. It went out on social media and social news, and then we got traffic back. We then launched a second site, Screen Robot, the same but for film and gaming. That got to 1 million visitors a month in 100 days. We got into Techstars ahead of 1,500 other companies. I launched my own conference series to help other entrepreneurs called Secret Sauce Conference. This talk won Best Talk at South by Southwest V2V last summer, although I'm not on the official program this year. General Assembly picked me as their digital marketing teacher last summer. I've been featured in Inc. and TechCrunch. I've written for the likes of Huffington Post and Tech City News. Content my company's written has been seen by over 50 million people. This is me with Prince Andrew. He's the 6th in line for the throne, the royal family back in the UK. His daughter is Princess Beatrice, famous for wearing a big hat at a wedding. So I met her at St. James's Palace. She asked for my business card, but she has not emailed me yet. So my own network has 200,000 likes and followers. Content my company's written has had over 150 million page views. We've had over 50,000 followers for our clients in the last 6 months and thousands of signups. So generally companies come to us at the very start where you want to get their first 50,000 visitors, their first 5,000 users. We grow their social communities. We grow people's personal brands. So we get it from 0 to somewhere. We come in at the very start. So we grew a magazine from 0 to 50,000 visitors a month in 5 months. We built a community on Twitter from 0 to 15,000 Twitter followers in 5 months. We can now do that in 2 months. And we got a cooking app from 0 to 100 to 200 downloads. So we do growth hacking every single day, and it's something anyone can do. So today we're going to look at what growth hacking is, how to growth hack in real life and on social, how to find customers on Twitter, social news, productivity, psychology, and lots of difficult stuff. So what is growth hacking? Generally speaking, getting a lot of shit done with very few resources. Growth hacking is the reason LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, everyone else get absolutely massive without spending anything on marketing. So understand that growth hacking follows and breaks rules. Never try and start work on a social media platform without understanding the rules of it first. Once you understand the rules, you can then break them. So the golden rules of growth, it should be scalable, repeatable, and predictable. This means whatever your growth channel is, you need to be able to do a lot of it over and over with predictable results. This is why I love Twitter and Instagram. There's 300 million people there. You can do the same things over and over and over and constantly get new users. It might be that you're running an e-commerce shop and you can get clicks really cheap that will convert. You just need to scale that up, pour more money in, and get more money out. So the golden rules of growth. The first rule of growth hacking is, you do not talk about growth hacking. What do I mean by this? When people are like, oh, we found a way to get loads of traffic off Twitter, here's a blog post on it. Don't do that. Then people like me will read it, will rinse it out, and then it will be no good. Keep your secrets to yourself. People want to believe in magic. So if you can be like, we're just doing something people like, we don't even know why it's good, people will like you more. The second rule of growth hacking is, you do not talk about growth hacking. The investors, they will be wondering, how are you doing this? Don't even tell them until you've got the term sheet. They want to believe in magic too. So the golden rules are, never ever tell people why you're doing well, and never give your secrets away. Thirdly, speak to your customers and define messaging before you go viral. If you find a traffic tap and you turn it onto your site and it's not clear what you do, which is the case for most startups, or your site doesn't load fast enough, or it's not mobile optimized, it's a complete waste of traffic. It will fall through your site like a sieve. You need to understand how to speak to users. So read a PDF called the MOM test. Now this is very basic knowledge, but basically no one does it. So if you told your mum you were doing a cooking app, she would say, that sounds amazing, I will definitely download it. And then of course she won't. She doesn't even use the cooking book on her shelf. But if you said, my friend is creating this thing, will you use it? You'll get much more honest feedback. Now that's a pretty obvious case, but when you go to networking events and you go, I'm building an app, will you download it? To someone, they're like, yes, that sounds amazing, here's my email, let me know. And then they never download it. Go to these same people at networking events and say, my friend has an idea, I don't know if it's any good, what do you think? Then you'll get much more honest feedback. Tied to that, you need to understand the basics of user experience. I can go through everything you need to know in just 90 seconds if someone wants to time me. Does anyone have an iPhone out there? So if you want to time me, and then, oh, you're videoing. Yeah. You're probably the only person who shouldn't. You're providing exposure. Can you time me? All right. So I want you to give me a 3, 2, 1, and then like start, and then if I go over, I want you to make a screaming sound like a wild animal.
Can I have her do that?
I can do that.
Okay, great. Okay, let me know when to start.
3, 2, 1, start.
Okay, this is Taylor Brands. Create unlimited free logos that are high resolution that look really good. This is UX myths. Read this before you start your UX training. It contains myths like simple is minimal and mobile users are distracted. Not always true. This is balsamic. Use this to wireframe. You don't need to pay a designer to do it. Do it on this. Hand it to any developer. They can build it. Keep your sign up really simple. Don't have email and password. Don't even have email. Just get them using the product and get that stuff later. Keep your onboarding really easy. Auto log them in when they sign up and always send a personal email because you want to find out how they found the site so you know which marketing channels work. This is a UX checklist via GitHub. My last slide has my email on it and I'm going to send all the slides around if you ask me. These are the best call to action buttons of all time. Sign up will get the most conversions, then download free, then start with your free forever account, then get started, and if you're more complex, how it works. This is Crazy Egg. This shows where people hover their mouse on the screen, so you can see what they're thinking about, not just what they're clicking on. Optimizely helps you A/B test key messaging, so you can test 2 different slogans. One will always get more conversions than the other. Obama used it on his campaign. This is a website launch checklist you should go through. This is Qualaroo, tells you what people do on your site, so why are they clicking here, why are they abandoning the basket, it has pop-ups which convert. And 5 users will find 85% of your user experience issues. Finally, this is the site you can use if you want to find out great about pages to do. Did I do it?
You got 10 seconds left.
Wow, all right.
I wanted to scream.
Do you want to scream anyway?
No.
Okay.
I don't waste those.
I coach a lot of people and they say, we have loads of channels we can try to get users. Where should we start? And the answer is always, do the easiest one that will get the most results first. So if you have influential people through your friendships or people on Tumblr, do that first. If you have access to an email list with 200,000 people on it, do that first. Whatever it is, start with the easiest because you'll get traction, you'll get momentum, and you'll get learning you can use to build your product and improve your product. But the default state is you start at 0 and it's really hard. So start with whatever gets the most traction first. Your goals for growth hacking and in your company should be smart, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based. So we want to get more users is a terrible goal. We are going to get 5,000 users in the next 5 weeks. And we're going to do this by reaching out to 10,000 people a week on Twitter, getting into free email lists with at least 3,000 people every week, by doing Facebook ads of $200 with 20% to convert, by leaving flyers in every co-working space in Austin for the next month, and we expect 20% to convert. So you have to have everything line by line, and I have a template for this later in the talk, but you need to have everything measured out. It's so obvious when you don't know what you're doing, because when people pitch me, I always ask the same question first. How will you get traffic to it? How will you get users? Virtually no one who runs an early stage startup can answer that question. So if you can, you're already impressive. Read the basics of your channel on growthhackers.com. So if you're new to online marketing, if you have a job interview for a marketing job, go up here and read up all of these things first. Or if you want to grow your company. So they have up to the minute case studies on Pinterest, YouTube, content marketing, SEO, everything to do with social media growth hacking. And it's a much better place to waste your time than Facebook. Don't worry too much about the small things on day one, the color of buttons, the placement on buttons. On day one, you just need traffic. If you have that, you can always iterate and improve your conversions, but generally speaking, you don't know how to get traffic. So do that first, and then worry about the small things and design. Most of the top blogs started with a terrible design and strange UX, but their content was really good. Be a mixture of madmen and mathmen. So madmen, they take massive risks for their client, but they also deliver massive value. And mathmen, you need to understand the basics of measuring everything. So Google Analytics and Bitly are the two most basic things you need to know. Here's a $9 marketing stack you can use. Segment collects all of your customer data in one place. Google Analytics shows who's on your website, where that traffic came from, what your most popular articles are, so you can then iterate and say, we need to get more traffic here, or this is working really well, let's do more articles like this. Mixpanel tags every single user on your site, so have they not logged in for a week, have they converted, have they bought anything, so really useful for e-commerce and apps. Optimizely split test two different messaging and see which one gets more signups, as mentioned earlier. Active Campaign is email marketing software. Scrollbox by SumoMe captures emails, and Perfect Audience has retargeting pixels. So if someone lands on your site and doesn't convert, you can follow them around the web with retargeting pixels. So on all the other banners they see on other sites, they see ads that will bring them back to your site. Pour more resources into the ones that work. This sounds obvious, but so many entrepreneurs I know, they're trying 3, 4, 5 things for weeks on end. Just go hard on 1 or 2 every single week, and then once you find one that works, absolutely rinse it. If Twitter works, create more accounts, get more traffic. I give this talk normally in London, and I always tell British people to be more like the Americans, but now I'm in America, so I don't know if I can say that. What I mean is, have an aggressive winning at all costs mentality. All of the big sites are built off the backs of spam. So you're going to have to do something to reach a lot of people. Airbnb, every time someone put an apartment for sale on Airbnb, they would cross-post it to Craigslist, which had absolutely mountains of traffic. So they got loads and loads and loads of click-throughs towards Airbnb and vice versa. So that was how they got a lot of their early traction. BuzzFeed ripped off Reddit, Imgur, and Tumblr, thousands of articles on the way up. Like, they weren't high quality, they would just kind of steal a picture and put a title around it. So it was kind of bad content, but they got the eyeballs in to get the investment money in, and now they actually do really good journalism. Genius is a rap lyrics website, or more of a lyrics and poetry website now. Their acquisition channel was SEO. 2% of all Google searches are for lyrics, but they got caught by Google asking bloggers to link to them over other sites. This is against Google's laws. So they went from page 1 for virtually every song in the world to absolutely nowhere. They were banished from Google. But by this stage, they had like $20 million investment, so presumably they called up the CEO of Google and said, sorry, because they were back on within 3 weeks. When you're rich, you can delete your past. So do whatever it takes to get that investment money, to get those customers so you can hire, and worry about ethics later. This is a typical growth engine for an app. Firstly, there's awareness. So they clicked on a link, someone told them about it, then they download, they have to activate, then they have to share it with their friends, and then that brings more awareness. So I'll be mainly focusing on getting the initial awareness, because that's the hardest bit. But I find most startups never do anything in this quadrant right here. If 1,000 people download your app, 90% of people will never use it after 1 week. So for every 1,000 users you get, and it's hard to get 1,000 users, only 100 will stick. So if you don't have a sharing mechanism that they share it with their friends, it's been a complete waste of time and you have a massive uphill battle. So you have to think, what gets better as I share it with more people? If it's software as a service, do I give them 1, 2, 3 months free if they invite friends who also sign into the free trial? If you're a blogger, are you writing every single day so that people will come back to your site and share it with their friends via Facebook and so on? This is Sumo Me. When someone's hovering their mouse and about to leave the site, they get a pop-up saying, don't leave, 10% off anything on our store if you give us your email, or if you're not selling something, we discovered the free secrets of our industry, give us your email and we'll send you an email and sign up to our newsletter. So have a good call to action, don't just have sign up to our newsletter because no one cares. If you're doing written content, Sumo Me also has a sharing widget. People tend to share more when they're told what to do, so if you have this widget, there's a better chance your content will get shared. Sumo Me requires no code on WordPress. You just install the widget and then you just click yes. This is the secret formula to getting returning users. There's an external trigger which brings you to a product or website. So someone told you about something, you clicked on an ad, you take an action, you get a reward, the content's good, you invest in it, so you build a profile, and then there's an internal trigger in your head. Normally you're at work and you feel a bit bored or lonely or isolated, and then an internal trigger in your head says, go to Facebook, go to Pinterest, distract yourself. So Facebook did not have to bring you back. There was no ad, there was no radio ad that brought you back in. So you have to create internal triggers inside people that they need to come back to whatever you're doing every day, whether that's good content on social media or blogging or new content inside your app. You have to find a way of getting people to that moment. People don't like the content on Facebook. They like going back in case the content is amazing. It rarely is if you think about it. You might have noticed when you sign up to LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, etc., your email gets absolutely blown up until you turn notifications off. So this is Mandrill by MailChimp. This will enable you to do that for your app or service. So has someone not signed in for a week? You want to send them an email that says, please come back. Have they not shared with enough friends? Send them an email to reply to that. So basically all of these things can be completely automated to send thousands of emails, and that will reduce the number of people who leave your site, leave your app, and so on. The good news about growth hacking is people go to work and they don't want to work. So if you can get in that flow and be in front of them, they will convert. Whether that's blogging or widgets or YouTube or Pinterest, there's loads and loads and loads of ways to get to people. You guys have no idea what you're doing, but that's okay. This is clarity.fm, and this will enable you to speak to experts in anything to do with startups for $1 to $25 a minute. So it's not cheap, but it's a great thing to do if you want to do something and you have no idea where to start. So you could read some awful blogs on how to do email marketing, or you could call someone up on Clarity who has sold $50 million worth of products and get them to help you with that strategy. So Clarity is amazing if you don't know where to begin. There's 19 main channels of user acquisition. There's a great book written on the wall called Traction. So offline events, business development, affiliate programs, there's so many ways you can acquire users. I'm going to go through real life social media, email marketing. I'm doing a session on social media and content marketing at AT&T on Sunday at 3:30. But real life social media, email marketing are free that I think basically any company can do. So people ask me, should I do an email list or should I just launch? Because what if someone signs up to an email and doesn't convert? The default state is no one cares about what you're doing, so you have to have something, some way, some following or something of people waiting before you launch. Mint is the most boring startup of all time. It's a personal finance app. It's like, don't spend money, be good, use your 401k. Like, it shouldn't be viral, like, it's so awful, but they had the most incredible pre-launch strategy, 9 months of incredible content, lots of written content and infographics that were shared on Reddit, Dig, Facebook. They got people to write in questions to the top finance bloggers. What's the best way of saving? Should I buy insurance, etc., etc. And then all of these finance bloggers released it on their social channels, in their email list, and then on the site itself. And then the people who asked the questions would share it because they were included in the loop. Then an email box at the end of every single blog post. This alone acquired 20,000 to 30,000 emails. So always have some call to action at the bottom of every piece of content. To get Mint first, bloggers had to put an I want Mint button on their blog. Founders spent 1 week of every 2 months doing PR. Their SEO was incredible. So for every popular finance query you could think of, where should I be saving? How do I save money? Who should I bank with in Texas? They created a piece of content. So anyone who's thinking about any of these personal finance things, they would land on the site. I was launching something last year, and I had every single statement that people could possibly use to land on the site written up in SEO. So the cost of user acquisition for them was under $1. So if something as boring as Mint can get all of this traction, your app idea can too. Get your skates on and hustle in the real world. Everyone wants to share hustle quotes on Instagram. No one wants to ask their friends if they want to use their product. My friends run an events company in London, and they came up with some spectacular hacks. One of my favorites, they printed out letters saying we all quit our jobs to start this startup. If you like going out in London, please download our events app and let us know what you think. Put it in envelopes and then stood in a subway station in East London, handing them to everyone who was going to work first thing in the morning. They presumed everyone going to work would want to go out at night. So thousands and thousands, they met partners, they met investors, so many downloads they got, and it was time they would have otherwise just spent drinking coffee in the morning. They also discovered their target audience. They thought it would be young, hip, cool people into going out. It actually turned out to be city boys who had no idea where to go out in London and had lots of money to spend. So that became their target audience, and that became all of their traction, and they've since raised millions of dollars with this really simple hack. You can do some of it from your laptop, but be wary because everyone wants to sit behind a laptop and make things go viral. It almost never happens. So I've included a link here to 190 Slack communities. So developers go to work and they just go on Slack all day talking to each other because no one can tell if they're doing any work or not. So if you join these Slack communities and tell them about your product, there's a good chance they'll convert. If you're a contractor or running an agency, public speaking is the best way to find new clients. So, or tell people about your early company. So go to Meetup and Eventbrite, type in your niche, find all of the groups that are active for those companies and those meetups, and then create 2 paragraphs. I give a talk on the 10 things wrong with our industry or 10 ways to improve our industry. I have a big community that I can email out about your event. They never check, just say that. And then copy and paste that to all of them, and then about 20% will get back to you, and then you'll start to talk to a room of 50 to 100 potential customers. And Meetup and Eventbrite are very busy for basically every niche. So this is what I would do to get those first early users through the door. This is everyone's favorite slide in my deck. This is Charlie app. Type in anyone's email and it will find all of the public information about them on the internet. Every blog post, all of their LinkedIn, all of their company news. So when you meet someone, you can say, hey, I love that sports team, the Dallas Cowboys, the Texas Longhorns, 2 of my favorites. And they'll go, wow, that's my favorite team. So you'll be like, oh, what a coincidence. But actually, you've looked them up before and worked it out. So you can socially engineer people before you meet them. You could maybe even do this with your Tinder dates too. This is Email Hunter. Find any company's email address, and so any company's web address, and then you can find all of the public email addresses of people who work at that company. So if you want to sell to a company or you want to write for a magazine, go on here and get all of their email addresses and start hitting them up. At a more granular level, this is Val and Norbert. This will find anyone's email address in the world. You just need their first name and their last name and their company domain. And then for $10 for 1 day, you can get all of your leads, all of the editors you want to contact. Whatever you want to do, you can get thousands of people, so you can no longer use the excuse, I don't know how to reach people. Cold emails are great. I've been using them partly to book this 2-month tour in America, but warm emails are 10 times more powerful. So this is Discoverly. Go on anyone's LinkedIn profile and it will show you all of the Facebook connections you have in common, or you go on their Twitter, all of the LinkedIn connections you have in common and so on. So you can say, hey, I'd love an intro to Mark at Nike regarding our advertising technology. I think they'll find it really interesting. And then you'll get that intro and it's much more likely they'll convert. Anything sales-driven and businesses that rely on relationships, a good first step if you don't know where to find your users, you should be using hacks and software like this. People in Britain are a bit scared of using the phone, so I don't know if that's the same out here with introverted tech people. But the better you are at using the phone, the better your company is going to get. You tend to want to use the phone when someone hasn't paid an invoice, when someone hasn't done what they said they're going to do. But this is the exact time you need to be on the phone with them. People find it very hard to say no on the phone. So you should learn how to brain drain. Does anyone here watch the HBO show Silicon Valley? So you'll know what a brain drain is. And I think everyone in this room should do it at least once. A brain drain is when you call up one of your competitors, pretending to be a customer, ask them about all of their current features for their product and all of the features they're going to build for the next 6 months, and then steal their ideas. It's fairly ethical, and I can't say I haven't done it before. It's a good way of showing whether you have what it takes. The first level is complete. Are there any questions? All right, social media. There's a conspiracy amongst social media practitioners like myself. We'll tell you, to get good at social media, you need to be authentic. Post great content consistently, and your account magically grows and you get sales. We tell you that because you try that, it doesn't work, and then you hire us and pay us money. That's not the way social media works. You need to be very aggressive on day one. Follow lots of people, reach out to a lot of people, beg for retweets. Get influencers to talk about you, pay influencers to give you shout outs. Post a lot of content a lot of people are going to like. You have to be very aggressive. You could be doing everything right, but if you have less than 2,000 followers, you're never going to get any decent retweets, shares, favorites, likes, whatever, because no one will see your posts. So you have to get that first 2,500, that first 3,000 for whatever platform you want to produce. When clients sign up with my agency and they're like, what's our content strategy? I tell them we don't have one until we have at least 2,500 followers. So that's the first thing. You need to be doing that. Secondly, people don't care about you, and they definitely don't care about your product. So when you're posting office selfies or alcohol Fridays, no one cares. I also think unless you're good looking, don't post pictures of the team. That's not going to make people feel good. So unless you're a good looking founder, no pictures of the founding team. You want to be posting things for other people. So interesting quotes, questions, videos, pictures, lots and lots of content that will make people feel good. Now, it's really hard to come up with interesting original content every single day, so my advice is to steal it. This is something I stole from Facebook and brought across to Twitter. I was the first one to do it, and within the first hour, I got thousands of retweets and thousands of favorites and thousands of people talking about me because I shared it. So many that my name started trending in London and Melbourne, Australia. So I got lots of followers and retweets and fame for a day for something I didn't produce, but it still felt good. This is another one I found on Facebook and brought across to Twitter. Thousands of retweets and favorites. A celebrity retweeted off me, and then it went from there. Not a lot of people know that a lot of people who hang out on Twitter are unemployed, so they don't have a job. So they follow famous people, wait for them to tweet, and then want to get the first reply. So a telecoms company in the UK that had famously bad customer service, TalkTalk, was hacked, and the newsreader tweeted, TalkTalk has received a ransom demand, and someone replied, they could be hanging on for hours for a response if it's TalkTalk. So I screen grabbed that with the first response, and in the first hour, 50 retweets, lots of favorites, really easy, up to the second viral content. If you don't know where to find good content for your social channels, this is welcome to the internet. This scrapes the internet for all the latest viral memes and pictures stolen from Tumblr and Reddit and everything else. But it's only ever stuff that's had loads of likes and loads of shares, so you can guarantee that people will like it. So it's quite fun, quite lightweight. It's always brand safe, but you may not be in a niche that can have animal pictures and so on. So this is Razit. I can't believe someone didn't come up with this idea before. It's fairly fresh. This scrapes the internet for all the viral content up to the minute by how many Facebook shares, how many Twitter shares. You just put in your niche and then it will find all of that content for you. So you can get like today's most viral trending content by country and by name. So this is a fantastic free piece of software. This is Sniply. Every time you share a piece of content to not just your own site, but to BuzzFeed, to Wall Street Journal, to anywhere else, it will inject a little ad when they click through, so they have an ad to your site when they click through, whether it's on mobile or on desktop. So this is another way of getting more traffic to your site. Instagram is the best place to find new users and customers. What you want to do on day one is find the one user who absolutely loves what you do, follow all of their followers, then look at the hashtags those followers use and start to use those in your posts. Now, if you're making ties, you would not want to use hashtag fashion. Millions of people use it every day. You would never rank for it. You would never get anywhere near it. You would want to use handmade fashion or artisan fashion or some small hashtag that not many people are using, But if you get a few likes in the first 15 minutes, you're much more likely to rank for. And then when you use those hashtags in your posts, all of the people you followed will start to tag their friends. So Instagram traffic falls into your Google Analytics as direct, and direct is the muddiest, worst sort of traffic that you want to see on Google Analytics. So direct traffic is anything from an app, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, anything from a private browser, and anyone typing it into their browser. So it's a complete mess. It's Facebook mobile traffic, Twitter mobile traffic, everything else. So if you just put a link to your website on your Instagram bio, it's just going to fall in there and you'll never know if you're getting any clicks from Instagram. So what you want to do is create a dummy landing page, such as yourdomain.com/go, and put that as your Instagram link in bio. Then you know that every person who clicks that has come there because they've come there from Instagram. So you can always put, when you do a post, for more information, click the link in our bio, and then you can see where it goes. This is the anatomy of a good Instagram post. This is Founder magazine. They went from 0 to 110,000 followers in 6 months. So they've stolen a photo, given a tiny credit, slapped an inspirational quote on it, and what they've done here is the most interesting. Not a lot of people know you can reply to your own post and dump in as many hashtags as you want, and they will all rank. So they've thrown in everything from happiness, businesswoman, entrepreneurship, work, startup, grind, because they know that they'll rank for 2 or 3 of them and people will see that post. The 2 best posts on Instagram are double tap if you X and tag someone who Y. So double tap if you're going to have a good week. Tag someone who's a good entrepreneur. Big caveat here. None of this will work until you have, again, 2,500, 3,000 followers. How you get your first 3,000 followers is by asking for shout outs from influencers. So this is Social Bro. They just rebranded to Audience, but you'll still find it. So this is an Instagram tool. What you would do is type in your niche here. Niche? You've got to say niche in America, right? Type in your niche, and then let's say it's fashion. Beneath 10,000 followers, people aren't inspirational or decent enough, or they don't have enough of a following. And over 50,000 for the large niches, they're either going to be signed to an influencer agency or their account is so busy they may not see your post. So I would generally say when starting out, go between 10,000 and 50,000 followers. These are the people who might give you a shout out for free, might do it for 25 bucks, and they're influential enough that they will get followers. Also, you can get these people to like your posts, and then the people who are following them see it. But basically between 10,000 and 50,000, go on Social Bro, type in your niche, export it to an Excel, and then go through it, and then ask all these people to give you shout outs. The magazine I talked about, Founder, they went from 0 to 10,000 followers in the first month because they've spent $1,000 on getting those shout outs. So if Instagram is serious for you, then it's worth doing. Another way of getting early traction is regramming. So you find people who've posted great photos in your niche and then asked if you can regram their photos and invent a hashtag. People will normally say yes because you're kind of complimenting them. So do that and then get as many pictures as you can. They normally regram you back. Their followers see it, they click on the hashtag and they start that way. So the guy who did this, he was taking photos from other people in beaches in South Wales, a tiny part of the UK, and he got 1,000 followers in 2 weeks just from regramming these photos. So for any niche, this can work. If you are not a designer and you want to make great posts, use canva.com. It can put nice words over posts. It can automatically resize your Facebook back logo and everything else, or Pinterest, Instagram, whatever you want to do. If you take photos of things in real life, use TextQt to do cool effects and put nice words over it on your phone. You can use Hootsuite or Buffergram to schedule your Instagram posts. You don't have to physically be there. It'll just send a note to your phone and you just click OK at the set times. And if you don't know where to find your hashtags, you can use Webster.me to find those. Anything with a product that looks cool needs to be on Instagram. Anyone looking to get thousands of users and anyone building a brand. Basically, everyone should be on Instagram apart from anything super serious like lawyer stuff. Facebook is the best social network of all time, but you'll probably be aware that only 2% of people who've liked your pages will see your posts unless you pay. So that sucks. So how do you get free traffic? There's 2 ways. Firstly, your personal profile needs to be your professional profile. So if you're working 15 hours in here or in the WeWork space, drinking that strange WeWork beer, you don't get to have a private life on the side, drinking tequila with your friends on 6th Street. It all has to be one profile. Most people in startups now have their Facebook this way, and you get much better connections with people. So people post things on Facebook they would never on LinkedIn and Twitter, stuff about their kids and their dogs you can talk to them about. And everyone, from the top CEO to the lowest intern, is on Facebook all day. So if you need to get hold of someone, this is the best way to do it. Like people ignore their email and so on, but people generally are on Facebook all day, push notifications or open on a tab, so there's a good chance you'll capture their attention. The second reason you need Facebook to be your personal is you need it to post into groups. Groups are the last place you can get free traffic from Facebook, and they're the only public area of Facebook. So for whatever your niche is, type it into Facebook, find all of the groups for that niche, over 1,000 people in that group, join all of those groups, and then look at the admins of those groups and click on their personal profiles to find even more groups. You won't see all the groups by default. What you want is like 25 to 40 different Facebook groups in your niche that have at least 1,000 members, so every time you write a piece of content, you can spray it across all of those groups and get early traction. This is something, if you put time in, you'll find great groups. So where I'm from, in London, England, there's a group called London Startups, 21,000 members, very, very busy. I did a blog post and put it in there a month ago. In one day, 1,000 people visited my website just from that 30-second action. Some of you are here because of the Austin Startups group on Facebook. When I announced this tour, Austin was where I was coming first, and I put a post in there on the very first day, and within 24 hours, 150 people signed up to see me. Likewise, when I put the post in there last week, it jumped up by 100. So there's lots and lots of Facebook groups that can really have an effect on what you're doing if you go out and find them. People always say, if I'm starting from zero, what should I do? And the answer is always, it completely depends on your circumstances. But I hate broad answers, and most of the people speaking at South by give very broad answers, so I'll be more specific. Twitter, public speaking, and Facebook groups are the best 3 things you can do if you're just starting out. If your company's big on community, you should consider creating your own Facebook group, especially if you have no budget to build a page. We did it for our Secret Sauce conference, and it's worked really well, like 1,200 solid members. If you and your founder both have 500 friends on Facebook, you can invite 1,000 people into your group in the first hour and have 1,000 members. So Facebook groups are not like business pages. When you invite someone to your business page, they can say yes or no if they even see the notification. If you invite someone to a Facebook group, they are then in it. They then have to opt out. So if you invite these 1,000 people, you have 1,000 people. 10% will opt out straight away, but that's fine. Now you have 900 members to go after the people you really want to invite, and you have an active community straight off the blocks. This is a lot quicker and easier than buying them. This is how Facebook chooses what to show in your newsfeed. So firstly, interest. How interesting are you?
Very.
Okay, good.
I have a different name, so that's fine.
Facebook likes interesting people who get lots of likes, shares, and comments. If you do that, they will show your post to more people. Facebook's one job is to keep you on Facebook as long as possible. So you have to get those likes, shares, and comments to get that traction going. So always do posts that do that. Secondly, the type of posts. Facebook loves embedded video because of its whole taking on YouTube thing. After that, it quite likes text posts. Below that, it likes picture posts. It used to like them more. Finally, external video. It's always hated that because if you do external video, you're leaving Facebook, and Facebook wants to charge you to make that happen. The type that's most interesting and you have the most control over is recency. When you do a post, you want to get as many likes, shares, and comments in the first 10 minutes. How things work on Facebook, they show it to a few people who like your page or follow you or are in the group. If they like, share, and comment it shows it to a few more, and a few more, and a few more, and that's how things get to 15 million views. So you have to get all your friends, family, relations, everyone to like, share, and comment your posts as much as possible. You might have noticed when there's a baby or a wedding, it's glued to the top of your feed when you log in, because as soon as it went out, it got lots of likes and comments. Your content needs to be a baby or a wedding. Generally speaking, if you have a product launch, you should have everyone share a link to your website or app at the same time. Facebook will think something's going viral because it's normally what happens. People see something, they share the link across a network, especially in a small geographical area, and it will show it to more people. My friends did this for their app, bunching up their friends into groups of 50 every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday night at 7 o'clock. 1,500 people on their site at once at one point. So Facebook's algorithm can be tricked, you just got to get the community going. You're going to need to learn how to use Facebook Paid. If you work for someone else's company, they're definitely going to be doing this. And if you run your own company, as it scales, you need to do this. So custom audiences is the most basic thing you need to know. So this is finding all of the people who have given you their email on your website, feeding that data into Facebook and Twitter, and then only showing ads to those people. So they've already shown an interest in what you're doing, so by doing this, you're only showing ads to them. Using spaceship.rocks, you can also download all of your competitors' Twitter followers, and then put that information to Facebook and Twitter, and only show ads to those people, so you are kind of stealing their business. Businesses are mainly Facebook. Anything with a product you can arbitrage. This is the best use case for Facebook. You're selling something for $50. You can acquire 200 people to your site with that $50, and one of them will buy something for $100. If you get that maths right, you have a license to print money. Investors will give you more money. Very hard to do it, but it is possible. This can include apps in certain situations, but if your first thing on day one you're doing is trying to get app installs of Facebook, it's basically like taking drugs. It's all good until the money runs out, and then you're in trouble. So only do that as a much later strategy when you need to scale up. You have to get free users first. Add the line of retargeting code like Google's, so you can target people who hit your site on Facebook. And use fan page karma to build your page. So like a lot of these pages, people find it really hard to monetize. So if you go to fan page karma, type in your niche, find all the people who have big pages in cars or fashion or whatever your niche is, and then offer them $50. They'll normally do a post linking to your page, or they'll share one of your posts. If you have two pages, share each other's posts. It's very powerful and gets a lot of traction. Generally, people don't answer their messages if they have a big page, so try and find their personal website and contact them there. Twitter is my favorite social network. There's so many ways you can get at someone. You can follow, you can favorite, you can reply to a tweet, you can mention someone in a tweet, you can add them to a list, you can retweet. That's 6 more ways of getting at someone than you can on Facebook. Plus, it's kind of accepted that Twitter is a public network where anyone can talk to anyone. Don't worry about using hashtags. Unlike Instagram, no one really uses it, and it won't make any difference in how many people see your posts. Twitter isn't about mountains of traffic like Facebook is if you get it right. Twitter is about finding 5 or 6 people every day who absolutely love what you do. And this includes B2B. Many sales have been made with top CEOs who check their Twitter more than they check their email. Twitter's fantastic because there's 2 ways you can find data on people to use against them. Firstly, what they say in their tweets, you can then search that and then reach out to them on that. And secondly, what they have in their bio. So if they have their job title in their bio and that's who you're targeting, it's really easy to do. So this is Social Bro, the best Twitter tool of all time. You can search by gender, job title, location, whether they're a company or a person, whether they've tweeted in the last 15 days, like incredible targeting. It has a free plan. You just put in your Twitter account, who you're targeting, let's say accountants or accountants in Texas, and then it brings up all of the people who match that criteria in one place. Like Twitter does not do this. So if you're searching for artists, there's 1.2 million artists on Twitter, and you find them all here. Generally speaking, with this software, I have anyone who's tweeted in the last 3 months, because otherwise you tend to be reaching to inactive people. Sadly, a lot of people are leaving Twitter. So use this. You can reach out to lots and lots of people. You can follow them from here. You can reach out to them from here. And this is always the first place I go when I sign a client and we want to get people to reach out to. Or when I'm coaching someone, I tell people, go here first, and then you will find lots and lots of people interested in what you're doing. Remember this. This is one of my golden rules. It's not spam if you provide value. If you reach out to someone and you know they're in a band and they want to play gigs and your platform helps musicians get gigs, then they're going to love you for reaching out to them. They are not going to hate you. Yeah?
Is this the same as Audience? It looked like...
Yeah, they just rebranded to Audience like yesterday. Yeah, but if you put in Social Bro, you'll still find Audience. One of the golden rules of the internet, people generally follow back. So you can use software like Tweepy or Crowdfire. It's free or $10 a month. And then plug in your competitor for Twitter and Instagram, follow all of their followers because there's a broad chance that they're into what you're doing. And then even if you do this badly, 1 in 10 will follow back. And obviously there's more of a science to it than this, and that's why people hire us. But at a basic level, you can grow anything that has a follow-unfollow mechanism by getting your intern to follow the right people who follow your competitors or into a certain thing. If you have a brand new Twitter account, don't follow more than 50 to 100 people a day. Second month, 100 to 200. Third month, 200 to 500. And then after that, 500 to 800. So I always tell people, build 4 Twitter accounts for your company on day 1. And then between all of those 4, you can reach out to 4 times as many people, follow 4 times as many people. And as an aggregate between all 4, you will get something approaching decent traffic, which would otherwise be 0 and cost 0. So the Twitter basics, steal the good stuff. Don't retweet other people. It's their brand name that goes around. Just copy and paste it into your own tweet and pretend it's yours. Tweet the same article at least 5 times. So at least 5 times a week. You could easily do an article 5 times a day. We were tweeting 300 times a day when we were running 10 magazines. And 5% of people were unfollowing us. The other 95% were clicking links all day long. So the easiest way of increasing your traffic, grow a Twitter and tweet more. If you have enough products or content, 50 to 100 times a day is fine. Tweetpea, Crowdfire, etc. will get you followers today. Anyone looking to get thousands of users should use Twitter. Anything where content is important, you want to build a lot of content, you want to get traffic to it, Twitter's the easiest way. Anyone looking to reach a certain job title location, if you want to reach a divorced 40-year-old man in Mississippi listening to Taylor Swift, you probably need Facebook. But for vague, broad targeting, Twitter is the one. Also, events businesses. At South by Southwest last year, I helped an app from Iceland launch. So we put on a party, and I predicted that everyone using the hashtags had a 90% chance they'd be at South by. So I tweeted every single person using that hashtag. Do you want to come to a party? Retweet this for VIP guest list and good food. Join the guest list and so on. And it was I forget which day it was last year, but we had 1,700 people through the door at Palm Door on 6th Street, one of the busiest events that night. And Twitter was the only promo we did. Like, our Twitter was so busy, there were 4 people answering it as things were coming in real time. So we're putting on events. Twitter is fantastic. Also, Twitter is like my secret sauce for this tour. I'm like someone no one's heard of coming to America for my first tour, but every town I go to, Boulder, Denver, Boston, Chicago, I invite entrepreneurs based on what's in their bio, and then I make sure I'm not speaking to 5 people everywhere I go. So it's a great secret sauce if you put on events too. Tumblr. I generally say businesses don't use Tumblr. Maybe if you're in the music, fashion, teenage space, you should use Tumblr. The best user acquisition hack I know for Tumblr, find a teenage girl who has red hair or blue hair, ask them who the most influential people are, and then offer them $30 to talk about your product. Tumblr doesn't show who the followers are, and there's basically no way in the world to find out who's influential on Tumblr. Like, type influencer market, Tumblr, find influential Tumblr people on Google, you get 0 results. It's not like Twitter and Instagram where everyone's followers are public. This means that if you can find the influential people, there's a massive opportunity, because there are people who sit on Tumblr all day long and will click on things. So if you can break that, it's amazing. Otherwise, just avoid it. Pinterest, anything beautiful aimed at females 30 plus. Furniture, curtain drapes, cats, anything like that will go down well on Pinterest. Groups are the easiest way to reach thousands. So a lot of groups have 500,000 people in them. So if you put a pin in that group, it has a potential market of 500,000 people straight away. So I would join all of the big Pinterest groups. The caveat is, Pinterest is like LinkedIn. People know they drive a lot of traffic, so some of them are full of spammers and some of them are closed to new members because there was just too much mayhem. But if you can find those groups and charm your way in, then you can spray pins all day that people will see. So this is the first thing I would do if I was working with a client that needed to do Pinterest. Find all the groups, get in there and spray pins. There's a massive opportunity here, but Pinterest is maybe the most complex of the major social networks, so you do need to understand what you're doing. And I don't know how many quick wins you can do outside of groups. Ninja Outreach is how you find influencers. So go to this site, tap in your niche, and then it will find all of the influential people. So you can then reach out to them and say, hey, we'd love to partner, and we'd love to do an affiliate deal with you. Like, you get 20% of anything you sell, or whatever the outreach is. Find them here, reach out to them. If you do written content, this is Analytica. This is another way of finding influencers. Copy and paste your article into here. It scans your article for keywords and finds all the people who've been talking about those keywords recently. So you can say, I see you've been talking about Bitcoin recently. I just wrote this on how blockchain is going to change in 2016. Would love you to share it. So you can find people who've already expressed their into what you're doing. So again, it's not spam. If you have good budgets, this is FameBit. This is how you can use YouTube influencers. It's like $15,000 to use, but these kids drive crazy clicks, crazy business. Like, I've heard over and over how good YouTube influencers are for amazing engagement. Using this, there's a link here on my slide, you can post to multiple LinkedIn groups at once. So using this, you can post to 50, you can be into up to 50 groups at once. So if you've got into those groups in just 30 seconds, you can post to everything at once. As ever, if you're in a serious niche, you'll know if you need to be in LinkedIn, and it will take time to find the right groups, but as ever, it can drive traffic. It does work if you go out and find it. There's also included here a link to message all of your LinkedIn connections at once, which can be handy when you have a big product launch. LinkedIn is a good place to cross-post your written content, so don't just have it on your own blog, also have it on LinkedIn, also have it on Medium. This is because different audiences sit on each platform, and if one of them starts getting heat, likes, people reading it, there's a good chance that other people will then see it. So when you post something to LinkedIn, it chooses what category to put it in by looking at your keywords. So if you're talking about recruiting and hiring, there's 1.2 million people following that hashtag, so there's a good chance all of these people will see it. So I've seen writers who aren't that good get a big following fairly quickly. So LinkedIn is a place to also post your content. I've been giving this talk everywhere, Denver, Boulder, LA, San Francisco, New York, and of course I was giving it in Europe a lot before I came out here. And of course after every talk people say, I'm building an app, and then we're just like, so what? It's like, everyone is. But then other people come to me and they say, I'm building an app, we already have 500 users, or I'm a blogger, I've already got 500 subscribers. Now you have my attention. People are interested in what you're doing. So when you're going to mentors, investors, partners, trying to hire, there's a massive gulf between 0 and 500 users. So if you cannot get those 500 users, go and do another job. There's plenty of them out there. You have to get that first 500 or you don't deserve the title entrepreneur. Again, you have to prove that hustle. So here's how anyone can get the first 500 users. Message all of your LinkedIn contacts in batches of 20 using the link I sent you. I think on that link, people can't see that you're sending to everyone, so you could send it to everyone at once. Individually message all of your Facebook friends one by one in a private message. So I always find the best way to do that is say, hi, how are you, what are you working on? Spray that to everyone, and then when they reply, then do the ask. If they don't reply to the first one, they won't reply to the second. Tweet out all of your Twitter followers one by one. Buffer will help you do that. I'll get into what that is in a sec. And email all of your contacts one by one. You should get about 100 to 150 signups from each of these channels. And I've included a case study of an Indian company who did this. This should all add up to 500 users. And if you're thinking, but these aren't my ideal users, that's fine. These are the people who say, why is your app so slow on Android? Your blog is full of spelling mistakes. This link doesn't work. I don't understand what your product does. So you can iron out all of these problems with 500 real users. Then you go to your actual target market and say, hey, we already have 500 people using this. It's growing fast. You might want to jump on board. And that's the strongest sell for them too. So you have to get that first 500. The rest will be easier. If you get that first 500, you're actually ahead of 80% of other startups worldwide. Most of them die before that point. You might have noticed when you look at someone's LinkedIn profile, they tend to look back at yours. So the easiest LinkedIn hack is to build a LinkedIn robot that looks at people's profiles all day, and then people will look back at yours. You used to be able to look at 15,000 a day and 9,000 would look back. Now I think you want to be doing 600 to 800 views a day. As with all of my hacks, if you find a coder to do it for you, it's much better because you're not limited so much. But there's a profile hopper you can use off-the-shelf Google Chrome software, which will look at people's profiles all day for you. You need LinkedIn Premium to get the most out of it. Reddit is the best website on the internet. It has hundreds of millions of active monthly users. It's basically a Facebook competitor. It drives insane traffic every single day. It sometimes drove Planet Ivy or Screen Robot, the sites I ran, 250,000 people in one day. So you've got to have good servers if you're doing that sort of content. So what you want to do on day one of Reddit is sign up for an account, unsubscribe from all the default subreddits because they're probably irrelevant to you, type in your niches here, and then join all of the subreddits that are relevant to that, and then your feed will be only relevant stuff. Join the conversation, so start to comment on other people's posts, start to post interesting industry news that other people haven't. Only one post in 10 should be a link to your own site. This is not Twitter, you cannot spam all day, you will get banned straight away. So it's a good place to get early users, maybe do an AMA if you're doing something interesting. That's an Ask Me Anything inside a small niche. And then start to slowly build it, and then you'll start to get that traffic through. It can provide big traffic, but unless you're a publisher, I wouldn't focus on doing that. Reddit is where you find all of the content for your other social networks. So if earlier you were thinking, I couldn't put viral content on my finance blog, that's fine. So Reddit has a subreddit for absolutely everything, good and bad and foul. Electronic music has 95 different subreddits. So if you're in finance, you go to reddit.com/r/finance to find all the finance news, interactions, discussions up to the minute that you could then put on your other social channels. So you find all the latest news and discussions for all your channels on the main Reddit. Reddit has a sister site called Imgur, I-M-G-U-R, and this finds all of the pictures that go with that subreddit. So you find all of the news. So if you're niche with startups, you join startups, entrepreneur, small business, engineering. And if you wanted pictures to go with that, you go to Imgur, imgur.com/r/startups or fashion or whatever your niche is. You can also look at what's been most upvoted of all time on Imgur. So you can have images that are guaranteed to be liked by people. Businesses are made in social news. Anything where tech feedback's important, anything where early adopters are important, and apps are going to get thousands of users. There's also Product Hunt. It's a one-time site for when you launch an app or a product or service. Really hard to get to the top of, so I would suggest going to Hunter List and finding all the people who are influential on Product Hunt and then bribing or charming them and getting them to post for you. If you get to the top of Product Hunt, it will be at least 10,000 visits to your site and lots of signups. If you heard of Ship Your Enemies Glitter, that started on Product Hunt, then took off and was bought for $100,000 1 week later. New platforms, Periscope, probably the best one to join if you are looking to join a new platform. So things like follow on follow will be very powerful on Periscope because there's not so many people on there. Periscope is going to be very big this week at South by, it was massive last year. So if you have a personal brand, it's worth doing, and I've included a link to an ebook of a Periscope expert. The caveat is, I don't know how many businesses actually need this. Again, probably if you're good looking, Periscope's going to be really good. Otherwise, I don't know how much live video you can really do. Snapchat's good for real life event promotions if you run a restaurant or bar. I don't know how much return on interest it will get. And WhatsApp, if you can live with yourself texting people. It has a very high engagement, but people may hate you. The social media level is complete. Are there any questions before we go to the final level? Headlines are the most important things in startups. So for every piece of content you write, you need to write at least 25 headlines. Ditto if you're thinking about the one-liner about your company. If you're thinking how to get that one-liner of what your company does, the best thing to do is speak to your users and say, how would you describe us in one sentence? They often come up with the coolest ideas. But test all of these things. Bitly is how you test. So Bitly is a link shortener and tracker. So rather than posting a long link into your Twitter or Facebook, it shortens it to bit.ly / a couple of words, and you can choose what those words are, so it looks neater. It also tracks how many clicks those links get. So did they come from Facebook? What time of day? What country? And how many clicks per day? So how you test when you have a good title is you have a piece of written content and you post a link to it every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on Twitter, say on lunchtime. But inside that tweet you have a different title, so the same thing said 4 different ways. Then you look on Bitly and see which day got the most clicks. Then whichever day it is, for some reason people like that title the most, you put that on Facebook on the Friday with some money behind it. Because you've already validated that for whatever reason, people like that title. This is literally how BuzzFeed have built their empire. They're no better at titling than you. They just keep testing 2 different titles and seeing which one gets more clicks. They test 2 titles in a small city, then a town, then a country, then a whole world. So when you're sitting in your office on a Monday afternoon and you see in your Facebook feed 15 cats who should not have put their head in a yogurt pot, you have to click that because that is a perfect title that they've tested over and over. Buffer is the best social media software of all time. Really easy to set up. So you just put in what times and what days, and then you want to release to Facebook or Twitter or your Facebook page, and then it sprays them out as if you're sitting there doing it live. It's like Hootsuite or TweetDeck. I just find it's a better product. It also has real good analytics, so how many favorites, how many replies, how many clicks. You can see at the end of each week, how did I actually do? Was it good? If you have a lot of products or a lot of content, you can use Meet Edgar and SmarterQ to, once you've put all of your updates in, they will just go round and round forever on a loop. On platforms like Twitter, no one will ever notice the same content going around. Search engine optimization deserves its own talk, but in brief, it's 50% what's on your site and 50% what's off it. So 50% site design, H1 tags, is it fast, is it mobile optimized, can Google read it well, and so on. And the other 50% everything else. So how much traffic does it get? And one major signal is, and always will be, how many legit sites point to you, like CNN, Forbes, other blogs, and so on. I've included lots of links to guides to SEO if it's important to your company. Keywordtool.io helps you find your SEO keywords. If you're on WordPress, use Yoast. It's the best SEO plugin and will help you get found real easy. ClickMinded has an SEO checklist. There's plenty of sites like Yelp and PhotoBucket and Flickr. If you create a business directory on there, you can put a link in which has a do follow, which means they'll send you link juice. And you could, in an afternoon, go through this checklist, join all of these sites, and then boost your SEO. Longtail Pro, you have to pay for, but it'll help you find your SEO keywords if you have no idea where to begin. So anyone doing content, so lots of content or lots of products should use SEO, and emerging markets like 3D printing. Now, converting all of this into gold. Email is 40 times more effective than Facebook and Twitter combined. When you have someone's email, they don't tend to change that for 5 to 10 years. As we've seen with Facebook and Twitter, when you build a house on someone else's land, they can always take it off you. So some of you built massive Facebook pages, then realized you can only reach 2% of them suddenly without paying. Likewise on Twitter, it used to be chronological. If you did a tweet when people were looking at that feed, they would see it. Now the default view is while you were away, so everything that got the most favorites and retweets, which will always be celebrities, it will never be your little company. So when you build a Facebook or Twitter or anything else following, there's a chance that it could all go. But when you have someone's email, everyone checks their email every day. Not everyone looks on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram every day. There was a guy from the UK who built a Groupon daily deals clone, sold it for $200 million, and a journalist asked him, what exactly are they buying? You don't have any tech. He said they are buying 4.5 million email addresses out, wallets out, ready to buy. That's how important those emails are. They have given you permission to sell to them over and over and over. So this is Hello Bar. This will help you capture emails on your blog or website. Very eye-catching. You want to have a good call to action. So again, 10% of anything in store when you join a newsletter, or discover our ebook on solving the 3 problems in our industry. MailChimp is the default for mailing lists. So if you're just starting out, it's free for up to 2,000 members. Really simple to set up. In 1 hour, anyone can have a mailing list going. Kickbox helps you get rid of broken email addresses. It's $10 to verify 1,000. Why is this important? If you have a lot of emails that bounce from incorrect spellings or people who have left the company, it feels like spam, because most spam lists have a lot of bounces, and you're much more likely to hit the spam queue. So use this if you have a few thousand emails. Mail-tester.com is a place you send your email before you send it to your mailing list, and they test how spammy it is, such as this contains too many links, the pictures are the wrong size, too many exclamation marks in the title, all things that spammers typically do, so we can say don't do this, and you're more likely to hit the inbox. If you don't know how to create mailing lists, this is reallygoodemails.com. This will help you find lots and lots of companies who produced email mailing lists that have converted well, so you can steal their outline and then get rich. Stocksnap.io helps you find free photos, so you don't have to pay Getty, you don't even have to reference this photo is courtesy of X. You just type in New York, forest, boy, girl, horse, whatever it is you're searching for, and it will find lots and lots of free photos you can use for free. Also, Pixtabay, P-I-X-T-A-B-A-Y, is a good one to get free photos from. This is review. If you're too lazy to do a mailing list, this is your answer. Just drop in the links and pictures, and it will automatically make a mailing list for you that looks nice. This is Wavelength. This will help you trade email lists with people. So if you want to reach people's mailing lists, which you definitely should, this helps connect you up. So you import your mailing list, and MailChimp finds people who want other similar mailing lists and other niches that are similar to yours. So if you sell weightlifting weights, and the other person sells that strange brown powder that weightlifters eat, it would connect you because you have the same target audience even if you're not competing. So this is a great way of getting into other people's mailing lists. And if you only have 500 on your list and they have 1,000 on theirs, you can give them 2 shout-outs for 1 in yours. So I'll give you a shout-out at the start, at the bottom, for 1 in yours. This is Connect 6, another stalking tool if you're after someone. Go on their Facebook page and it shows you all of the other social networks they're on. So their Quora, their LinkedIn, their Google+, but don't use that because no one does. Email tools. Sidekick enables you to see who opens your email. So if an investor or customer says they didn't get your email, you know they're lying. Boomerang helps you send emails later. So if you don't want to get in a back and forth with your boss, you can send it at 6 o'clock in the day and then go home. And you can also send them at 5:30 in the morning if you want to say you get up early and do yoga. Maelstrom. Your inbox should be a to-do list. It should not be full of mayhem. It should be for internal communications and customer stuff only. It should have no newsletters, no meetup, no Eventbrite. That should be in your second inbox. So if you're not inbox 0 right now, use Maelstrom. It will automatically archive everything in your inbox that you want to, which means it's not deleted. You can still search for it, but it's out of your inbox. And secondly, you can unsubscribe from everything just from this screen, which is really useful because you've probably signed up to too many newsletters. So this will help you get to inbox 0. So use it for 1 month for $10 and then delete it. This is Streak. If you're the person who does sales for your company, this is an amazing tool. So generally, your sales is going to be through email. So if an email comes in, and it could be a potential lead or potential investor, click one button on Gmail and it will add it to this sales flow. So are they a lead? Have they been contacted? Have they been pitched? Are you negotiating? So it's really easy to see at a glance how sales are going. Rebump, my favorite Gmail tool of all time. When you start a company, you're a bit lower in the power balance than everyone else you talk to. So you may send an email and someone may not reply, but they should because you spent time to create that email. So Rebump is a Gmail tool. If you use this tool, you can email someone, and if they do not reply, Rebump will email them every 4 days forever. It'll be like, just thought I'd try you one more time, just checking you got it. An investor once said, there's a 98% chance I hate your guts. No, wait, I got that wrong. There's a 98% chance I didn't see your email and a 2% chance I hate your guts. Just keep trying. Entrepreneurs appreciate hustle, so if you can keep trying, you will eventually get a reply. I've used this, it works. Quickmail.io enables you to do this at scale, so you can send thousands of emails and then thousands of auto replies if you're doing email marketing. Anything where something's being sold is essential for email marketing. Software as a service companies that don't have salespeople, it really works really well for. And authors, freelancers, contractors, it's essential for. If you're doing a Kickstarter, PR is your main acquisition source. What you want to do is find all the similar products that got funded on Kickstarter, look at all the places they got PR, you can get a virtual assistant to do this, and then target all of those places of PR 3-4 weeks before you launch. So on day one, you want all of those blogs to speak about you at the same time, to create a surround sound effect of everyone talking about it at once, and you should then hit 50% of your goal on the first day. This is how those companies do it. So you have to get PR. So I've included lots of links for things to read about PR if that's your acquisition channel. So a summary of growth hacking cheat sheet. So if I was starting a company, these are the things I try and get good at. If I was doing a publishing, like an online magazine, I'd get very good at Facebook, paid Facebook, search engine optimization, and email. If I was doing an e-commerce company, I'd get good at paid social, AdWords, and real-life partnerships, affiliates, influencers. If I was building a social network or B2C app, I'd get very good at other social networks, real-life partnerships and influencers, and internal and internet virality, so people sharing it out of your app to bring more people in. If I was consulting freelance or run an agency like I do, the only lead source I need is public speaking. I just give speeches to rooms of people and then people ask to work with me. Software as a service, the best sort of internet company, all of the above. Every single acquisition channel can go into software as a service. If you're an enterprise or non-profit or selling to government, partnerships and board members are your acquisition source. So it doesn't matter how good your product is. If you're selling to Fortune 100 or government or like a massive charity, you will need introductions. So you've got to get good at taking people out to lunch. This is what I mentioned earlier, planning every single user. If you wanted to get 5,000 users for your app or service, you should lay it out like this, and I've included a link so you can use this template. Twitter, reaching out to 10,000 people, hope 25% convert. Facebook, paid ads, $1,000. SEO, blogging, 500 users. Instagram, paid shout-outs, $1,000 with a 10% conversion rate. Real life hustle, flyer and co-working spaces. People often speak to me about we're going local first. Here's the best acquisition hack. Pay TaskRabbit to deliver 10,000 flyers into people's doors and have a very good call to action on those flyers. People physically have to pick them up because they're paper. So if you're doing something local, do that and you'll get in front of loads of people at once. So it might be viral factor, it might be PR, reaching out to 50 blogs and expecting 6 or 7 to cover you and get 1,500 visitors. It might be events, organizing a meetup as mentioned earlier. Have all of these channels coming out. So the project I'm about to start, I mapped out one of these on a flight from Boston to Denver, and I had 25 different channels by the end of the flight, all things I'm going to try to get traffic through. That Might be the end, unless you want 10 minutes more. If you want 10 minutes more, you have to applaud. Come on.
My UK audience want to know where you're from in the UK.
Oh, London.
He's from London.
Born in Fulham, lived in Shoreditch.
Thank you.
Thanks. Emojis increase engagement. So not a lot of people know you can put them in email headers. So by putting those in, there's a much bigger chance people will see it. It's not played out yet. Not a lot of people know you can put it in emails. Also, Twitter and Instagram will increase engagement. So if you're on the latest Apple, Control, Command, and Spacebar will bring up the emoji bar anywhere you can type. So you can put emojis anywhere. If you're not on Apple, go to iemoji.com, and it has all the emojis there. You can copy and paste into whatever you need. Reaction GIFs is my go-to place for GIFs. They're real good if you drag them into emails and people feel warmer towards you. So reactiongifs.com, go there, type in I am happy, I am angry, I am disappointed, and it will automatically find you a GIF for that emotion. You can also turn any YouTube video into a GIF by adding GIF before the URL, so www.gifyoutube.com. This is why all of those GIFs from YouTube ended up on Tumblr. This is the very hack that did it. If you're doing an app, there's an app marketing strategy guide I've included a link to here. Typosaurus will help you find all the spelling errors on your website. Every website has one. And I've included a link for an article on how to get more clients. SimilarWeb is how you see how much traffic another website gets. It's about 80% accurate. So you can see your competitor, how much traffic do they get, how long do they spend on the site, and where that traffic comes from. So if they have a lot of Facebook, a lot of Twitter, a lot of Reddit, you can then search them on those platforms and then see, hey, how are they doing this? Then you can reverse engineer it and get that traffic yourself. Or if they have a lot of SEO, you can try and outbid them on their terms. You can also see whether it's worth writing for blogs using SimilarWeb. Trello is one of the best products on the internet. It's your digital to-do list. So it's a series of cards. So you can archive the cards or drag them from column to column. So I have the columns, what's to be done this week, what's to be done today, and what am I waiting for feedback on. So if you've done your task for today on Trello and you're at inbox 0, your work is actually done. And you never feel like your work is done, but if you just have these two, you are completely organized. Amazing tool. You can delegate cards to other people in your team, or you can just have it as your to-do list. When you work on your own, you don't have a boss, but at least Trello can say, these things need to be done today. This is lean domain search. Type in any keyword, and you can find all the available .coms for that word. So I was searching for God, and I found maingod.com, areagod.com, kiwigod.com, all still available. So if God is still available, your app idea probably is too. This is ChartGo. So this will help you create charts for your content or for your investor decks. It's just a website, but it's real easy to use. What's on the x-axis, what's on the y-axis. So here's my tip for graphs. They should go up and to the right. All great entrepreneurs read. So these are the 6 books I think anyone starting a company should read. Firstly, the 48 Laws of Power. This deals with human psychology in a more practical way than any book ever. When I was on welfare and reading business books, this by far was the most practical. Like I'd go into an investor meeting and be like, right, he's doing this one, I'm going to do this one. It contains golden rules like conceal your intentions, act like a friend but actually be a spy, act like a king to be treated like one, crush your enemies totally. Like, if you've ever tried to raise money, people are playing these power games with you. If you've ever gone for a job interview at a big company, they are playing these power games. You don't get to opt out and be moral. The whole world is doing this. You just try not to be too naive. On a less amoral note, how to win friends and influence people. This trains us out of our natural selfishness and makes people like us more. So it contains golden rules everyone should do, and everyone thinks they do, but no one does. So golden rules like listen, smile, compliment the other person, never contradict, condemn, or complain about the other person. The sweetest sound in the world is the sound of the other person's name. If you do things like this, people will like you. It's really easy. If you ever think to yourself, when do I meet a good listener? Basically never. Trust Me, I'm Lying is the best book ever written on PR. PR can be growth hacked. It probably deserves its own night. So in basics, it's this. Go to Fiverr, Fiverr.com. Find all of the blogs who will write anything for $5. You can send them your press release and they will post it.
Can you repeat that again?
Fiverr, Fiverr.com. And then once you have all of those links from these sites, they don't get any traffic, but they look legit enough. You need to create 10 fake Gmail addresses, and then email all of the small influential blogs in your niche, and then be like, all of these sites are talking about this thing, you might like it. Now once you get the small influential blogs to cover it, because everyone in internet journalism copies everyone else, there's just not enough time. So once the small influential blogs cover it, then you go to Huffington Post and bombard them with emails saying, I can't believe you haven't covered this. Everyone's talking about it. Huffington Post have to write 1,500 articles a day or something crazy. They don't want to miss out on anything. So you can get the Huffington Post slot if they see other people talking about it. Once Huffington Post cover it, then you can go onto CNN and Forbes and all of the big sites. It sounds far-fetched. Lots of startups have done it. If you look up Trust Me, I'm Lying, and the people who've written about it, lots of people have done it. It doesn't mean it's easy. It doesn't mean you still need a good product, you still need a good story, but it can be hacked because of the way the internet works. 0 to 1 is the best book ever written on startups. So if you're looking for investment, it contains golden rules which are very hard to swallow, like, are you 10 times better than the nearest competitor? And do you have proprietary technology that someone couldn't rip off in 1 month? So if you tick all of these boxes, you get Peter Thiel's seal of approval. He founded PayPal. He was the first investor in Facebook. So an incredible book on startups. The 4-Hour Workweek is the best book ever written about traveling around the world working from your laptop, like an outsourced business. It contains golden rules like outsource everything to VAs in the Philippines. Their English is really good and they're a lot cheaper. And put everything on your American Express Gold card and then use the air miles to travel around the world. So a very practical book on how to build a company. The Hard Thing About Hard Things is the best book ever written on business management and maybe one of the best books ever written on business. Most business books are written in peacetime, so how to increase sales, how to increase marketing, how to increase motivation. They presume everything's going well, when in fact things are normally very stressful. So The Hard Thing About Hard Things has chapters like how to fire someone, how to talk to your co-founder when they're not pulling their weight, what to do when you steal an employee of one of your friend's companies, how to do an appraisal. So all of the hard stuff that comes with massaging egos. For instance, if someone comes to you and says, I have a job offer from someone else, if you increase my pay, I'll stay, and you do it because you really want them to stay, that seems a logical thing to do. But in fact, word gets out around the office that this person just got a raise, and then the entire office goes and gets another job offer and comes back to you, and then the company's finished. So lots and lots of difficult things that will happen as you scale your company are written in that book. So I coach a lot of people and they always ask, what should I be doing? I have so much to do. And the answer is always, split your to-do list into things that directly make you money and things that don't, and then only do the side that directly makes you money or gets you users if you're a startup. You'll be amazed how much this second side doesn't really matter. Whether it's accountancy, admin, social media, blog writing, influencer reach out, just do the things that make money and focus on those. Focus is a major killer of early stage startups. Something I've started doing recently is having a board meeting with myself. So at a set time each week, I might put on a shirt and tie and sit with myself and be like, is everyone here? Yes. Start the meeting. And then you want to have one metric that week. If you've hit it, you've had a good week. If not, it's a bad week. So if I'm working on a side project, I might want 20% more traffic. If you've hit that, it's good. If not, it's bad. And as soon as you do this, like 24 hours after you do it, you're like, shit, I need to really make sure I hit those targets. You might end up texting your friends, the board are going to be unhappy this week. And they're like, what? If you have a co-founder, maybe do it with them. We're not in a bubble. There's lots of money around. Entrepreneurs create wealth. We don't take it from some mystical pie away from other people. As a side note, don't listen to most people. You might have noticed I haven't mentioned once raising $1 million or selling a company because it's not something I've ever done. But there are plenty of people speaking at South by and on blogs who talk about things they've never done. Never take advice from someone who hasn't done the thing you're trying to do. And ignore all the negative talk about not being able to raise or the economy or whatever. Just build and sell and grow users and you'll be fine. I'm looking to meet interesting startups and founders who have an idea and are scaling, or people wanting to grow their personal brand or their community, their Twitter, their Instagram. So social media growth hacking is what I do. I'm looking to give more talks in America. I'm back in May, so any big meetups or conferences you could recommend me for would be great. I am giving a social media masterclass at 3:30 at the AT&T on Sunday. And if you email me for slides, I'll send you a link to that. And I'm giving this talk again, or maybe a slightly different talk, on Monday night in Austin. And I am releasing my first book, which will be about growth hacking strategies, in 6 weeks on Kickstarter. So if you email me for the slides, I'll let you know when that launches too. Like lots and lots of information. And I'm writing it with someone who's a much better growth hacker than me. So there's lots and lots of information in there. So finally, when you get home from South by Southwest, or maybe when you get home tonight, if you're not out late, ask yourself these questions. And these questions hurt. Everyone else wants to end on a high note. I want to end on a low note. Okay, ask yourself these questions. Why don't our customers like us? If our company went out of business tomorrow, would anyone who doesn't get a paycheck care? How can we become the company that would put us out of business? Are we relevant? If we weren't already in this business, would we enter it today? And if not, what are we going to do about it? Do you have at least 50% of your free time for emergencies, things overrunning, and coming up with new ideas to solve problems? What's the smallest subset of the problem you can actually solve? Who on the executive team has spoken to a customer recently? If I had to leave my organization for a year and the only communication I'd have was one paragraph to my employees, what would I write? Do we underestimate the customer's journey? What do we need to start doing? These are very hard questions. And the other question, are we 10 times better than our competitors? So ask yourself these and cry. There's a problem in this room. Everyone in this room spends more time on Facebook each day than they do washing themselves. And that's a problem because Facebook doesn't really provide any value. So this is Stay Focused. It's a Google Chrome plugin. If you use it, if you're on Facebook for more than 10 minutes, it physically cuts you off so you cannot go on Facebook. You can't even type Facebook in the browser. If you open another browser, you can, but you feel dirty doing it. So once you start using Stay Focused, you'll realize how little time you need to be on Facebook. 2 lots of 5 minutes a day to answer your messages and spray out links into groups is more than enough. And with all of that time you spend not on Facebook, you can start to do all of this growth hacking that I've talked about today. So thank you for watching my first ever South by Southwest talk. I truly believe the internet is the ladder we can use to climb ourselves out of poverty. Thank you for being part of my American dream. So email me for slides. I'll take questions if anyone has any. If not, just tell me what your company does and what your marketing problem is, and I'll try and solve it. Yeah.
Curious to hear your thoughts on Snapchat starting to monetize using filters, and anybody being able to do that for about $5 or more.
They're going to need to sell a lot of those filters to pay back the money to investors. If a wider question of is Snapchat good for companies? I lump it in with the big companies who are looking for impressions, not clicks, and that's not startups. They just want people to see something. They don't care if people ever click through. They just want it in their mind. So I don't think Snapchat's the place for small businesses. It might be good for your personal brand, but yeah.
What are your next talks on at South by?
I'm doing a social media masterclass, going deeper on this social media stuff at half free at AT&T Conference Center on Sunday. I might try and give my other talk on Monday, how to get rich and internet famous. I'll try and switch that one out. That should be fine. I forget where that is, but if you email me for slides, I'll send a link to it. Any other questions, Austin? Yeah.
For startups that you work with, what is a typical budget?
So we can either do the work, which is like thousands of dollars, or we can tell you how to do it on Skype consultancy, which is a lot less. But we're quite selective over who we take on, so email me about what you do and then we can go from there. All right, thank you, South by. See you soon.
Thank you.
Let me know about any parties or events tonight. Anything with email marketing or marketers or alcohol, let me know. I'll be here for a little bit out front.
Hey, Vincent, I did have a question from the Periscope audience. They want to know, how did you get into your line of work?
I was unemployed and unemployable, and my ex told me I had to do something that wasn't playing in a band.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I'll be right here at the front.
Great talk.
That was fabulous.
Thank you. Cool. Just for this talk? How did you find out about it? Cool. Awesome.
Believe in everything you do. And
Thank you.
Hi, how you doing? Frank Ducey. Nice to meet you. Liked it. A little bit about me. Started as a Magnific. Hotmail. Started a company. We sold innovative kind of grocery management food products. So last few years I've been doing a passion project on Christian video games. We've had some really cool player games, which is great. We had a million player games, as you said, we've never reached 2% of what we we released a game recently that's the best game we've ever made by a lot. It's a mobile app. And we've got 200,000 installs, which isn't terrible, but we know what the skill is. I mean, we have people come and tell us all the time about lives and changes. You know, it's Christian stuff, so you can imagine we're passionate about this. But I'm telling you all this because a lot of the things we try just can't scale. So, and like I said, we've had a great run in the past. We've had banged our heads against stuff, and I just, a lot of what you talk about, I don't know, I just love having a further conversation.
Cool. I get the feeling it might be paid.
We've done that.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of that.
Okay.
But you only get to a certain ceiling. You get to a low ceiling.
That's why you need to have people sharing the app.
We do.
Yeah.
We have that built into the app. We've got sharing features built into the app. We've got, we've done a lot of that gamification part. And still, we just can't get the service. So I'd love to, connect. I've got your email.
Yeah, email me with the link so I can have a look.
Yeah, I will, and I'm going to connect with my executive director who does a lot more of the viral community stuff. And maybe we can talk to you and see if there's something else.
Yeah.
Love it. Thanks. Good luck to you.
So we have an on-demand lawn care service app and web, and you said in the presentation you don't do anything that doesn't make it work. How you doing? We have 500 active paying users, and then our customer acquisition channels are more like real world, like flyers, and those get us customers. But we were also thinking about doing more like brand awareness, like writing posts and things like that. Do you think that's like we're losing focus because we don't know if that's